Now, the Australian government tell us that 2.2% of the Australian population is Muslim. 2.2%. Now, these are old figures. These are from the 2011 census. We had a census in 2016. They haven't released the figures yet, but let's assume the government's figures are correct. When has the government ever lied to its people? So we've got 2.2% of the Australian population is Muslim, and yet 100% of the meat in all of our major supermarkets is halal. 100% of all the meat in Australian supermarkets is halal. So how does 2.2% of the population dictate 100% of the Australian meat content? How does that work? How does that resemble anything that's passing as democracy? And how has this been allowed to happen? Because don't forget, governments have to pay for this privilege. They have to pay for a halal certification board. And there's not just one, there's dozens of them. In fact, I could walk out right now, set up a $20 company and say, okay, government, give me 200 grand, we can have halal cream crackers. A scam for everybody. Wonderful. So how does 2.2% of the Australian population dictate 100% of Australian meat content in our supermarkets? How is this happening? Presumably there are palms being greased. Maybe there are backhanders happening in government, because let's face it, it doesn't take too much to be a politician these days. And in fact, recently we're veering dangerously close to special needs, some of them. All you need is a devious nature and an unquenching thirst to rape the public purse for every cent you can get out of it. Because remember, politicians' pension plans are second to none. You can bet your buttocks if there's a wage rise to be had, well, the politicians are up there first and foremost in line. So we've got all these people who are in charge of the public health. Don't forget, from cradle to tomb, everything we eat or drink or consume is regulated by government decreed amounts of chemicals and additives and all sorts of things like that. So we've got, they're just telling us that we're going to be drinking recycled sewage soon. Oh, good. Stale urine and menstrual fluid to make the dinner go down. How lovely is that? We've got huge oceans that could be desalinated, but it's cheaper for us to drink each other's piss. Lovely. Now, isn't that great? So we've got all of these people who are taking us for a ride with these great food labelling scam. Healthy options, they say. Healthy options, things like cornflakes, Cocoa Pops. The healthiest thing on those is the milk you put on them. Sugar and fat, you'd be better off eating the box. And so it goes on. And don't you feel that we've been in the middle of one big experiment for the last 50 or 60, 70 years? Since the end of the Second World War, how do you feel feed the nation's population? Our world needs to be fed. What do? We'll have chemical foods. We'll have strawberry jam that's never seen a strawberry. Someone might have thrown one across the top of the vat once, but who knows? And we've got all these chemical additives that just kill you. Everybody dies of cancer now. We've all got these terrible heart disease and diseases of sugar saturated in our fat. But don't forget, people are living longer now. People are living longer, well into their 80s and 90s. But they're all going down with Alzheimer's and dementia, so they're living longer, but they don't remember a thing about it. But don't panic. The cavalry is coming, because we've got the youth coming up. The youth who are all obese and overweight and got heart disease. By the time they're 55, they'll drop dead. And because mankind is so slow at coming to grips with anything, we might lose a couple of generations. So when the government tut-tuts and wags its finger and says all these old people, they're a burden on the public purse, they are costing so much in healthcare, well, don't worry about it. They'll all drop dead. And then we've got no one to come up at the rear, and at natural culling, natural attrition, all these things that we need to do to get the population back on track. So we've got food additives, we've got all these chemicals, we've got these dozy politicians who are busy rorting the system and carrying on and... What? What? Who's that? We're filming! We're filming here, mate! Who the hell is that? What's going on? Who the hell are you? What do you want? What do you want doing? What the hell are you doing here?